My name is Pete Niemeyer. I've lived here in Bowling Green for 3 years with my wife and 3 kids. I'm a small business owner, and I've never been politically active other than casting my vote each election. I've been losing hope that our country could be saved. It seems like we're racing toward financial ruin, like lemmings headed off a cliff. The Washington machine destroys any attempts to change it, and even good men and women quickly become corrupted and join the system that will destroy our country. This is not the fault of the Republicans, the Democrats, Obama, or anybody living today. It's the result of significant flaws in the very foundation of our country. Our country is like a house infested with termites, where the damage may be unseen for many years, but eventually the entire structure will collapse. Although it's taken over 200 years, our path toward this crisis was set from the very beginning. You see, our founding fathers did not foresee that Congress would eventually become a home for career politicians who would stay there for decades. They thought our senators and representatives would go to Washington for a season and then return home to their businesses and families in their home states. When Congress became a career, politicians stopped representing the people and instead focused on increasing their power, position, and influence. Lobbyists flourished, and deep relationships formed between special interest groups and key congressmen that benefited the partnership rather than the country. The only way to fix this mess is to fix the very foundation of our country. We must amend the United States Constitution. Like a house with termites, the only solution is to start at the foundation. We must pass the Restore America Amendment to take back our government and our country from the Washington machine. Although the Constitution is significantly flawed, only minor changes are needed to fix this mess. The one area most in need of change is the legislative branch of government. We need to limit their access to power through term limits, restore their loyalty to their home electorate by making them employees of their home state, and create some accountability in the Constitution limiting their ability to spend limitless amounts of money. I've only got 10 minutes here, so I can only give a quick overview of the actual amendment, but I will give a website at the end where you can learn more about this effort and read the exact wording of the Restore America Amendment. On the legislative branch, we've all heard of term limits before, and this must be done. There is no other way to break the grip career politicians have on our government. We must keep bringing new people to Washington who can still relate to the real world. Special interest groups also need to know that the senator they just got in their pocket will be replaced soon. Did you know Congress has passed legislation that they get a pay raise every year unless they specifically vote against it?
Yeah.
Guess how many times they voted against it?
0.
0. Never. If senators and representatives work for us, why are they paid by the federal government? Every employee is loyal to the man who writes his paycheck. A key element of the Restore America Amendment makes our congressmen employees of their state and gives states the authority to decide on any pay increases for their representatives. Corruption in Congress is rampant, and when each case is exposed, mostly for political reasons, the violations are referred to their own ethics committees to investigate with predictable results. Congress has been above the law far too long. They cannot self-police their members, and their dalliances make a mockery of this country. Placing the state's attorney generals in charge of handling these matters will straighten up the good old boy frat party in Washington. These changes to the Constitution as it relates to the legislative branch of government will reduce corruption, lessen the influence of special interest groups, and ensure that those serving in Washington will still have an understanding of the real world the rest of us live in. The Restore America Amendment is not complete unless it also addresses the federal budget. We all know spending is out of control, and unless we get control here, everything else will be for naught. The federal budget must be balanced within 7 years of the ratification of the amendment and every year thereafter. Just like an average family in this country, our government must learn to live within its means. We cannot continue to spend more than we make, but we must also limit how large the federal budget may be. So, except in times of war, the federal budget, including entitlements, may never exceed 20% of the previous year's gross domestic product. This is huge and is a fundamental shift in how Congress thinks. Today, if they want to raise or spend more money, they simply raise taxes or print more money. This stifles growth or creates inflationary issues that increase the burden on legal taxpayers. This part of the Restore America Amendment sends the message to Congress: if you want more money, grow the economy. Imagine if Congress was working to find ways to help our economy grow, rather than hurting it with more taxes and more needless regulations. These are the issues addressed by the Restore America Amendment. These simple changes to our Constitution will take back our government and set our country on course to be what the Founding Fathers intended. But it is a waste of time and energy if we can't get it passed. Let me ask, what are the chances of our legislators voting to shorten their careers, be held responsible for their corruption, and limit their spending?
0.
Don't hold your breath.
One definition of insanity is continuing to do the same thing and expecting different results. If we keep writing letters to our representatives, complaining to our neighbors, and voting for one of the two candidates offered to us in general elections, we will get the same results. The Restore America Amendment will not even be brought up for a vote, and nothing will change. Are you ready to do something different? Thank you. I'm standing here because I am doing something different. I have never done anything political except vote. No bumper stickers, no volunteering, no letter writing. I've been trying to run a business, raise a family, and pay my bills. Now I'm standing on this stage pushing for a fundamental change in the United States Constitution. Why? Because I believe it can work. Many of you are familiar with the story of David and Goliath. If David had tried to take on Goliath in the expected way, he would have been dead. Instead, he placed his faith in God and then attacked Goliath in a way he wasn't prepared for. God blessed his efforts, and David defeated Goliath in battle and won a victory for his country. Friends, that is how we can defeat the Washington machine. Step 1. We approach our existing representatives and give them the opportunity to sign an agreement to sponsor the Restore America Amendment and support it when it comes up for a vote. Who knows? We may find one or two across the country that will put America ahead of their personal interests. One or two. For the hundreds of legislators that will not sign the agreement, we replace them with legislators that will support the Restore America Amendment. The weakest point in the Washington machine is the primary process. This is where Republicans and Democrats decide who will be their candidate in the general election. Fewer voters actually vote in the primaries, and the national parties don't put money or pay much attention to those races because they know their chosen candidate will win. Did you know that as few as 2,000 or 3,000 votes in a congressional district could be the margin of victory in a primary? When we have an incumbent that needs to be replaced, we will identify a new candidate for that district that will support the Restore America Amendment and get them on the ballot for the primary. This can be worked both against Republicans and Democrats. Party doesn't matter. With our candidate on the primary ballot, we can use our grassroots efforts to get the word out to fellow patriots who want to take our country back. The national parties and special interest groups will be saving their money for the general election. Our effort in the primary will be like a small, smooth stone sailing at Goliath. They will be stunned when their incumbent candidate doesn't make it to the general election because of a defeat in the primary. When one of our candidates wins either the Republican or Democratic primary, the national parties will have to get behind them with their standard war chest and fight to get them elected in the general election. Would you be willing to go vote in a primary for a candidate that has agreed to support the Restore America Amendment?
Yes.
Are you willing to visit a website to learn more about the Restore America Amendment and how we can get it passed?
Yes.
Are you willing to talk to your friends and neighbors, post on Facebook and MySpace, and tweet about this effort to let people know? All right, we got 3 yeses. That's good. 3 for 3. Folks, this can happen in the 2010 elections. We only have a precious few months to get the job done. Please join the fight to take back our country with the Restore America Amendment. My time is up, and I want to leave you with the website where you can learn more about this effort. It isn't easy, so you'll probably have to write it down. Borrow pen and paper if you have to. Website is inspireandignite.com. Lovely young lady here with the white sign. Inspireandignite.com. Thank you for your time and consideration. I appreciate it.